So this is a follow-on video from my last one where I told you quite how much I liked my Tarot 130 and some of the small things I did on it which I thought might have improved it. Since then I managed to kill it relatively quickly after the video actually. What I think I actually did was when I screwed the top back on, I managed to squash the wires for my receiver along this line of, I'm not sure if you can see in here, along this line of power connectors for the actual motors. I either squashed the wires and broke one or actually even shorted across the thing. And then I basically had a real problem in that the flight controller would never believe there was actually a radio committed, and it would just tweet and tweet away. I actually think I managed to kill that, which is my 610 version 2. That's the one which I put the foam on the back. That no longer appears to be live. I had another one which I tried out. I had my 410s, which they all light up. They all say, oh, we're getting power, but none of them actually will communicate. So I then had a major problem. And it's a problem that I'm sure that a lot of people are looking at and thinking, you can buy frames. That is my 150 frame, and I'll talk to you more about that in a bit. You can buy motors, you can buy ESCs. Somebody told me that if you take that metal cover off, you can buy video transmitters and cameras, but nobody's selling flight controllers. And that is my dead one. So it'll still, Clean Flight still believes it's alive. But my thoughts are I've done something shorted out to do with how it talks to the receiver. So I was in a bit of dilemma. I've had a look around. I've done big Google searches and nobody had the things. So I originally thought about buying my 130 from eBay. The eBay sellers, there was a lot of Chinese eBay sellers which would have taken a month to get here. There was a UK seller, and I thought, you know what, let's buy it from his actual store. Let's not take it through eBay. He'll get the extra money out of it. And I used flyingmodels.co.uk, he says, making sure he's telling you the right people. No, I'm using flyingtech.co.uk. I will put a note in the description. Anyway, so I emailed those guys, got a lovely email back from William saying, yeah, we'll have a go for you. They contacted Tarot, who said, yeah, we've got some, but we're on Chinese holiday, Chinese National Day, I think it was. So it took about 3 weeks for them to send me one, but he did. And as of this recording, which is the 23rd of October, he said he's got a couple. So if you have problems with your Tarot 130, probably 120 or 150, and you've got a problem with your flight controller, have a look on Flying Tech. I don't know if they're actually on the site yet, but he may put them on soon, or email info@Flying Tech. I think you'll speak to Will, and he should sort you out. He's a good lad. I think they were floating about 30 quid, so they're not cheap, but if it's the only thing getting your thing flying, that'll do you. Anyway, so that turned up. I unsold the old one. Don't worry too much about some of these bridges. This one is dead. The bridging came when I actually unsolded it. You basically unsold 6 wires on one end, 6 wires on the other end. So you've got power, ground and information from your ESCs, and that just pops straight out. Everything else is just clipped in. Then resoldered the other ones. I replaced my receiver with an R616. They are the absolute tiny little orange ones. Hobby King don't seem to have anybody. Nobody seems to have anybody. There's one guy, I think, selling them in the UK on eBay. And fair play to him, he's got them, so he sells them what he likes. He's selling these at 15 or 17 quid or something like that. When Hobby King had them, they were about 5 or 6. But he's got them and Hobby King ain't. I had to disconnect the servo type cable at one end and connect it to one of those little JST whatevers on the other end. If you've got a black, red, white one, as I have, you've got black, red and white in one specific order. If you use one which I found on eBay, which is red, black and yellow, the red and the black are reversed. This is really, really important. The yellow's your signal. That's okay. You can leave that alone. But when you wire it up, you're going to have to reverse the black and the red. If you don't, things will go bang. So I put that in, and it's all pretty good. It's a tiny, tiny little receiver. So I wouldn't fly it too far away. It's only a tiny little quad. I mean, it's really a park flyer. If you've got 100 meters away and you're flying line of sight, you can't see it. I am beginning to learn some FPV. That's the whole reason I bought this thing, because it was small and light. So I'm playing around with that. Other things I actually did when it went away, when I thought I couldn't get another flight controller, the only other option that I can see seems to be a Pico BLX. It's a flight controller with built-in power distribution board. It will take some actual work on there. If you buy a Pico, one of the things you are probably not going to get is a buzzer. Pretty sure it says buzzer on the description. They've got a port for a buzzer, but not the buzzer. I haven't got my measuring at the moment. I believe these are a 6mm. They might be slightly bigger than that buzzer, but they're 3mm deep. They're not a very deep one. Make sure you get one which isn't deep. You can then solder that in. You'd also need a JST plug, and make sure you get one with high gauge wire on the thing. I think that is 18 or 20 gauge. Again, as people sell them on eBay, you can buy the thin little wire ones and you'll get a dozen for about £1 or something like that. Guys selling the thicker gauge wires, about £5 for one, but it's what you have to do. When I did get my replacement board, that came with the buzzer and came with the wire, so you don't actually need to buy that. So buying a Pico, I thought, you know what, the 130 is fantastic, but the 150 is not that much bigger. Also, it'll give you extra space to put things in. So loads of people selling 150s on eBay. I think that one was floating about 10-15 quid, not really sure. That turned up, interestingly enough, while it turned up with all the posts, you have to have 4 long screws to go through the 2 pieces of carbon fibre at the front, and I got 3 long screws and an extra short one. So I'm going to have to look in my parts bin and see if I've got an extra long screw. So I'm going to do that. ESCs, everybody's selling ESCs. ESCs are cheap as chips, so I've got lots of those. I bought those originally when I thought, oh, I might burn out the ones on the 130. Motors are slightly more expensive. I've got a feeling that motors might be 7 or 10 quid each or something like that. So I've got 4 of those motors coming. So then it'll be a case of going off and buying a Pico, whacking that in and seeing where I go. Yeah, part of the reason why I bought the 150 was you get slightly more space at the back. So I might put that back in, even though it's only got one antenna. So I might see what I can do. Small receivers. Also looked at this thing. That I think is on Banggood. I think it's a DAS Micro. I will try and put the description in the comments below. That is a FlySky, not an FrSky, a FlySky receiver. It's got a tiny little aerial on there. I might try and take that off and replace it with something better, but that was an option. I've got a Turner G9X transmitter and a Devo 7E, which has been modified. So I've got some options. The Turner G has got FlySky. I've also got an orange module on there, which is why I can fly those things. The Devo 7E will do DSM and DSM-X with a real minor modification. It won't do very much range unless you do the full range modification on there. So be aware of that. So basically that's what I've done. Last little thing, if I go FPV with that, I got one of those which is an eSheen camera. It is 3-in-1. Don't know if it actually says what make it is. These are the ones that Andy RC was talking about. They are floating under 20 quid. This is a 200 milliwatts, so it's going to be powerful, but it might get warm. It's going to be tricky to get in there. That's the wrong end. Tricky to get in there. It might actually, oh, there you go. I did not notice that. With a bit of wiggling, it might just sit at the front. Some hot glue, some foam tape, just sit in there. Find some power for that, and then I don't have to worry about another VTX. But anyway, if you have problems with your 130 and you manage to kill it, and you need a new flight controller, William at flyingtech.co.uk, he's got them, and he seems to be the only person who has at the moment. So good luck, Will. I hope you sell lots. Thank you very much for watching.